Hey there, welcome to day 95, and we are finishing Luke chapter 10 today. So we start with a lawyer who is testing Jesus and asking, "What must I do to have eternal life?" And Jesus, of course, answers back and says, well, what does the law say? Since he was a lawyer, he used what he knew best to his advantage. And the lawyer repeated back what the law says, which is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and to love your neighbor as yourself. So those are the two commands. And Jesus says, yeah, just do those things perfectly and you will have eternal life. And of course, we know that the reason that Jesus came was because we could not, Jesus was the only one who could keep the law and keep it perfectly. And that's something that we couldn't do on our own. And so he had to come and be our sacrifice for that reason. So the lawyer, of course, pushes a little further and says, well, who is my neighbor? And wants Jesus to define neighbor, because we have to keep in mind that a neighbor is not just somebody who we like or who likes us. This is anybody outside of ourselves. And so Jesus tells the parable of the Good Samaritan. And what we have to understand is that the Jewish people did not like Samaritans. Out of all the Gentile people, Samaritans were one that they did not get along with racially or religiously. And so when Jesus tells this story of a man who was wounded and the priest and the Levite go past him and don't help him, nobody finds that super unusual, because Jesus was often calling out the religious leaders of the day. But the man who stopped to help, everybody probably presumed that he would say it was a Jewish man that stopped to help. So when he says it was a Samaritan that stopped and helped, it put a new perspective on the story, because this person who has probably been treated poorly by this Jewish man, and maybe vice versa, didn't even like him, stopped to help him. And not only help with his wounds, he let him ride on his animal, which means he walked, and he took him to a nearby inn and he paid for it. And so when Jesus calls us to love our neighbor as ourselves, that means whatever we would do for ourselves, we would do for someone else. And this is definitely a harder law sometimes than just loving God. So loving God is the sometimes the easy part, and the hard part is to love others. And we know that they were created in the image of God, but they are definitely part of the human condition, and so their sin and our sin shows up, and sometimes that causes conflict and frustration, and it makes it a lot harder to love others. So we have to dig much deeper and remember that our love for God can show love for others, and that's what we have to hold on to when we are struggling with people. And then we go into the story of Mary and Martha, and this is just a short capture of the scene of what's going on. Jesus is at their house. Mary and Martha are the sisters of Lazarus, and Martha is up busying herself, serving Jesus, cleaning and cooking and just taking care of the house. And Mary is sitting at the feet of Jesus, listening to what he is saying and teaching. And Martha calls her sister out and it's like, "Mary, why are you not helping me?" And I know I have so many friends that have said, "Oh, I'm such a Martha." Like that's definitely my person in the Bible, where I'm more worried about getting everything done and wanting everybody else to pitch in. And sometimes that means we're not slowing down to actually take time for ourselves and our relationship with Jesus. So what Martha was doing wasn't bad, because serving Jesus isn't bad. But the fact that she was putting that above listening to his teaching and learning from him and loving him and having that relationship with him, that's the part that Jesus was saying. What Mary is doing is actually better. And so I would encourage you that if you are not only just serving others, but specifically if you are maybe serving at the church, that you make sure to make time for serving and for your own personal time for worship, and making time during the week to spend time with Him and to have those moments so that you would be more willing and more able, and just overall have a better opportunity and mindset and perspective on serving, not only for Jesus, but serving others when you are at church. So I hope you have a wonderful day today, and I will talk to you tomorrow.